Hello, everyone. Dr. Michael Fisher. Today is going to be a talk on security, safety, risk, fear, and fearlessness, and customized terrorism. In particular, I'm going to focus on the experience that I just had with a friend, client of mine, and I've known a few of them actually in the last few years who've been scammed. And so the scam is a customized terrorism, form of terrorism, and that's been my study for the last 35 years is understanding the nature and role of how fear, power is connected to manipulation, propaganda, terrorizing people to be able to manipulate them to do whatever you want them to do. It's kind of a psychology of totalitarianism, a psychology of fascism, a psychology of terrorism, basically. And it doesn't always occur in what would look like a political, right, war or policy issue or government involved at all. So the ordinary scam, criminal behavior, can enact this now with quite fine detail using AI devices to mimic people's voices and identities. So it's kind of a stealing of identity. So those are all the unfortunately gruesome kinds of concepts that I want to go into today. And I'm sharing this video for the very reason to warn you as a cautionary, not to panic you, but that you could and may receive one of these messagings through email, phone. It's very most effective usually through a phone call and the sudden shock. So let me trace through how these experiences work and how the scammers do get money out of you. But the side I'm most interested in is the psychological traumatic effects of this kind of practice that they've chosen to do. And there's no doubt in my mind, these are very traumatized people themselves that have scammed others and are terrorizing others because they've been terrorized all their life. No excuse for their behavior, but it is a way to understand just the passing on of fear or fearism or terrorism, whatever word you'd like to call it. But I like to use all those distinctions. And you can look at that in my other videos on this YouTube channel if you want to understand more of my work on the deep understanding of how fear conditions all kinds of psychological motivations and then actual behavioral practices. And many of them fundamentally are violent in the end because they're not checked, they're not healed, they're not transformed. So let's start with the scenario. Be prepared, a little trigger warning here for all of you. Be prepared if you feel that it's just too much information of what I'm sharing. You can just click off the video at any time. Say, okay, that's enough for now. Maybe I'll come back to it. Maybe I won't. Listen to another piece. Get a little bit more when you feel you have flexible attention, or get some attention from others because of what I bring up, right? So you don't have to listen to the whole thing. You don't have to be stuck here under my gaze, under my promoting and exporting this knowledge about scamming these days and how sophisticated it's got and is very effective on basically terrorizing and, as I say, getting money out of people. Thousands of dollars, as my friend and the other persons I know have actually given money to them. All right, so looks like this is a basic scam pattern, and it's probably a fairly common one. Is they do their research and find out and get enough information about you. So let's just say in this example, it was a parent who now is living alone with their grown-up children living on their own and doing quite well, three of them. And the perpetrators here were able to access enough information to put together a voice copy of one of the daughters and use their name. So the phone call comes in at 6 p.m. at night, for example. My friend is sitting having dinner and just relaxing, and you get the call, and it's immediately, Mom, I need help. And it's copied into the voice of their daughter. So again, somehow they've gotten the voice copy or something equivalent or near. Then they goes into, Mom, I'm all right, but I really need your help right now. So the Mom, I'm all right, but I really need your help right now. That opening is basically the pattern of shock first. Mom, I'm in danger, right? But I'm okay right now. So that's really intense voice that puts you into shock. The kind of phone call you just don't want to hear from your child or someone you love or care about. So that's the first thing. Once they got the shock, then the part was, but the voice from the daughter, so-called now, it's a computerized voice, of course, of just a false imitation. That, but I'm okay, sort of, right? And so the okay sort of is put in there so that the person on the end of the phone or communication doesn't go into full panic. And therefore, if they were in full panic, they wouldn't be negotiable. They'd be so irrational on the phone. And these scammers have only a few minutes to be able to get you to send money somewhere and follow directions. So they put in, but I'm sort of okay. And so then they have a story that basically the daughter was watching, a drug trade and on the street, and by accident she started screaming. The criminals grabbed her and now have her in the back of the van, and they're going to negotiate to get this money, uh, basically bribery against the parent to send money, so that they'll then release this daughter. And if they don't, they can sell the daughter already, for 30 grand or whatever they will tell you. So they're setting up a future scenario of the worst possibility of what could happen to your daughter. If not, they could kill her. And so they start that, they settle you in so that you can still listen because it's not too bad. In other words, you have something you think you can do about it. Not that horrible what's happened to the daughter, but the daughter's there. So then the male voice, or an authoritative voice, a really strong authoritative voice, unempathetic, uninterested in anything emotional, but a strong, and will, if you try to talk back or ask questions, they will say, I'm asking the questions. Shut up. And then about that time, they play a clip of the daughter screaming in the background. Then the parent is getting close to paralyzation and panic, but they're on the voice now, following the authoritative voice. Follow me. He's basically saying, follow me no matter, so that something horrible doesn't happen and you can get your daughter back. Here's what you have to do. Do not go to the police. We're going to time you and all the time it takes you to get to where's your bank. Okay, well, that should take you 2.5 minutes to get there. They do all these calculations. So you're put on a timing of an emergency time. And if we do not hear by you by then, something horrible will happen to your daughter. So, of course, in this case, the trauma took about a process of 2.5 hours to work out all the logistics of what needed to be done, securing the money to be sent. In this case, it was sent to Mexico, an address through a banking system. And then, they finally said, okay, we've released your daughter, but we'll not put her on the phone, right? Um, so then they hang up the phone. Parent immediately then phones their daughter at their daughter's phone number, who is in another city, for example, and finds out that nothing is going on at all with their daughter. And that ends the story of the saga, but it doesn't end the story of the trauma. Okay, well, I think if you take that scenario, I don't need to go on and on in this video. I want to keep it short so people actually listen to it and then pass this on to your friends, your networks, so that they can come to understand how fearism slash terrorism is so customized now to manipulate exactly all the things they need to do to put you in a hypnotic state after a shocking, sudden, unexpected crisis. And then the authoritative voice that will guide you to do everything to prevent the worst scenario case. And the worst part for most parents, especially, they will pick on, no doubt, those who live alone. That's a real key factor, whether it's the elderly or the single parent, particularly the single moms, is my guess that those are the main targets that they sort through. Because the worst thing that interferes with their project, which is to terrorize you into being able to manipulate you, is the worst thing that intervenes is that when you receive the call, you immediately can ask somebody else, listen to this, what do you think is going on? So it's having the double or the ally there, the partner, the friend, whatever, and being able instantly to give quick feedback and check on reality. Now, that's not going to work in 100% of the cases because sometimes both parties will go into a terrorized panic, but often the second person who hasn't received the initial shock on the phone and nor listen to the authoritative voice, they will at least have some of their own authority left. They're not caught in the hypnotic effect of the authoritative voice guiding them in that terrified state. So that can help buffer, and then that person might say, let's hang up the phone and see if they call again, or whatever the right thing might be. And I'll tell you right now, there is no right thing. As my friend said, the police said, well, the best thing you can do is hang up the phone. The mother says to the police, she says, are you kidding me? My daughter's screaming in the background of the phone and she's asking for help, and these people are basically threatening to sell her for $30,000, if not harm her. She's a beautiful woman, they'll say, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So all of those things, the key thing is the second voice to check you up and to utilize that as quick as possible before you make a decision to follow any further on the phone. And as I say, in some cases you might want to hang up the phone and just anyway and wait for the second call, because if it's really important and your daughter's really there will be a second call. I can guarantee you. They don't want to lose you, and for all kinds of reasons, even whatever the intentions are of the phone call. Um, you'll get the second call, even though you're not asking for a second call. You see what I'm saying? It's like make them do the work. So you're not doing all the work. Make them do some of the work to come that next level, that second time, the second phone call. So all that said, then there's the issue of dealing with the trauma, the post-traumatic effects, and that's what I would spend time with and have spent time with, particularly this friend today. And through half an hour of working together, we could definitely set the paradigm, set the stage, recreate the incident, stop after 20 seconds, 30 seconds of the phone call and stop there and start processing and going through what are all the things that happened to you, what went on, what were you thinking? And this friend said, part of my brain was thinking, even though the other part's panicking, my daughter's in the background, possibly screaming, I'm thinking this could be a scam. So this is, a really tough place because to try to make those decisions, your brain's working. On the good side, because you probably are instinctively picking up, it probably is a scam. In most cases, that kind of extreme news is probably a scam. Overall, I would say that's the fact of risk if you're actually to calculate it. Emotionally, that doesn't matter, right? It's a kind of the rational risk assessment. But the emotional impact is you just want to help your daughter and do anything to save her, and money is no issue when you want to save your daughter, a loved one. So the therapy process is not what I'm here to talk about today on this video. I may make another video, well, depending on some of the things you can do to process through in slow, small bits, a 2.5 hour episode of horror. And of course, on the other larger context of the world, this manipulation, this customizing of a terrorization process is happening all over the world, all kinds of people, all ages, all colors, all religions, all cultural backgrounds. And we're going to have to more and more humans come up to scale, especially now that AI is being used to assist the customization. Media is being used to assist the customization of terrorizing. We have to really bring our fearlessness intelligence up to scale. So on the good side, that's our task now, is to bring it up, bring our intelligence up on how to defend ourselves, how to move along this path of fearlessness rather than a toxic, debilitating, manipulatable, fear-based way of being. Thanks today for this. If you have any comments below, just put them down, and If you have stories of how you've been scammed and want to put them in the comments, that's good because other people can go there and read them too, and we can all share, the cautionary around how to better handle what's actually going on here today. Thanks for today.